gain's about halfway. All the Mike's gonna have to walk me through all the extra features that we tweaked out.
Right.
But yes, it's very, very heavy sounding amplifier, as you can hear. There we go. And Mr. Michael Klein's lovely ball gag just kicked in, as you can hear. What is this?
So this is, you turn that off?
Yeah, the Divic overdrive is off now.
This is straight in. Give it a shot.
So yeah, that now is just straight into the amplifier with no boost at all. And the gain is still at halfway.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
There you go, sir.
Here we go. Well, just letting you know, my plane is going to be going completely downhill from here. All right, does anybody have any questions or anything?
We do have a mic too, if anyone needs to ask into the mic.
Sandy, what speakers are in that cabinet?
That's Mr. Klein's amp, so what do you have in there right now?
Well, he was the one that figured out the magic combination, but it's Eminence DD77s and Celestion Greenback 75s in an X. We both started with the DD77s only and felt like they sound awesome, but felt like they didn't project or cut quite enough.
Yeah, they didn't have, they're kind of dark,
Yeah.
and it didn't have that teeth that it kind of needed.
Yeah. So the Greenback 75s are just super cool speakers and ended up filling some of the gaps in the DD77. So yeah. And then that's Sammy's signature Arachnid cabinet. And they are beastly cabinets. I mean, you guys came up with it, but I got one because I fell in love with his. The two, I knew I needed that cabinet when I was working on the amp. And it's like the most balanced cabinet I've heard. It's just, everything sits right.
Yeah, and it's the same combination that I have in my personal cabinets as well. I didn't know if you had changed them, because I know you were experimenting with the
All kinds of shit.
30s and stuff.
All kinds of shit.
Yeah, that's what me and Mr. Klein do, is always tweaking something.
Yeah. Yeah, and that amp, so like, I had been working on the design for 2 years before I delivered the prototype to Sammy in the spring of 2023. And then we've been tweaking it since. So what was really fun for me is I'm just a fanboy, like, and a nerd. And being able to sort of design something from the ground up, you know, not a modded Marshall or 5150 or things like that, but start from the ground up and really try to design something that sounded like him, but also it's made to respond to different guitars and pickups and boosts and all kinds of stuff like that. So we tweak a lot.
Yeah.
Not meth tweak.
Always remember, kids, don't do drugs.
Or drink.
I mean,
Sober's a harsh word, right?
sober is very hard times. But let's just say I had a rough week. But let's not get into that. Anybody else have any questions?
I was just gonna ask about the amp, like kind of the inspiration, and what it sounds like you're going for Sammy's tone, but are you still using the divot pedal?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes. But we're trying, there's like, is it the voicing one?
Yeah, so the amp has some relatively unique controls, but also, like when the design started, I wanted to have sort of it be kind of like the foundation for how he sets his amps. But over the years, we kind of decided we also needed to make it a little more like versatile too, because the kind of tones that we like tend to be fairly thick and lots of low mids and no piercing or scratchy highs, and that's not necessarily for everyone. So while you can't get a harsh sound out of the amp, those toggles, one changes the voicing, sort of the feel, makes it a little faster and brings the mids up almost like you're boosting it. And then there's also a boost switch that engages in another tube gain stage in it and sort of changes the frequency response a little bit too. So just there's all different ways to get different kind of tones in it, but fundamentally it's made to be as brutal and heavy as possible.
Yeah, that was the main point, is to try to make the heaviest sounding amp
Ever.
Because I mean, I sent him, when I was using the Randall stuff, I sent him a couple of my personal VMAX heads. And I was like, let's just start with this and make it better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the thing with the VMAX is it was a kind of a hybrid amp, to where it had a tube preamp and a solid state power amp. So it didn't have that how would you say?
Like the punch.
It didn't have the punch, the high-end punch. It was a really dark amp. And that's the only thing I didn't really like about that amp. Because, I mean, me and him are also big fans of old JCM 800s and old JMPs. So if we could take the punch of the JMP and put it into something that's the vibe of the Randall, that's what we're basically shooting for. And I think we definitely achieved that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So will this amp be available to the public, or is this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So-
Actually, weren't we discussing that this would be the first place that they would be available?
Yeah, this is the first time anyone besides me and him has seen that particular amp. They are going to be available to the public, and I hope available through the shred then too. Everything is by hand in it. It's all old school turret board, like like late 60s Marshalls. I like to build that way just because it's fun, but also from a longevity standpoint, nothing lasts like that. So it's made to last, be repaired if anything fails, which things happen. But you've been touring with yours for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Just blew your first tube and that's it.
Yeah. That was the first thing that happened before I left to go on this tour.
Yeah.
The first, our baby lost its first tooth.
Yeah. But yeah, and so the only reason I mentioned that they're hand built is, I do everything myself. Arachnid mates, the head cabinet, The transformers are custom mercury magnetics made to my specifications, like it's all stainless steel chassis, all the good stuff. But I'm not sure how long they're gonna take me to make, so I'm guessing it'll take about 6 months after one is ordered, but we'll see.
Yeah, you're pretty quick on your stuff, though.
Yeah.
What were the differences between the first and this one?
Some of it we came back to where we started with the KT77s.
Yeah. It was just a lot of trial and error. And, you know, when you have an amp in a room like this, compared to when you have an amp in like a live setting,
Exactly.
you got to kind of make small tweaks. You know, I mean,
Exactly.
you can have an amp that sounds fantastic right here, but if you put it in a band context,
Yeah.
you know, some frequencies won't project as much as other ones. You know, so it was basically just like a lot of road testing on the road and saying, okay, what works for me live?
Yep.
What sounded good and what didn't, and
Yeah.
what we can make better, you know?
And he has some of the most particular ears of anyone I've ever met. So if there was something that could be improved, he was hearing it.
Yeah.
And I was always hearing it sound like shit. Fix.
Sound like shit you fix.
But it was, fundamentally subtle stuff, but the combination of like a year of subtle things just, to me, really opened it up.
Yeah, I think it was more of like, compared to where it's at now, compared to the original version, was definitely tuning in low end.
Exactly.
Because the first version, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
The low end on that fucking thing was like it was like the bass was useless at that point.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was so much fucking low end. I was like, we gotta kind of contain it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, he loves a lot of low end in his sound, and if you've ever worked on something, you don't know when it's enough until you've gone too far. And
Yeah.
I remember I brought the amp down to them, and you had rehearsal,
Yes.
and I remember going into the room and not being able to hear TA. And he was using an 8x10 with an 800 watt amp. Because there was so much
The
low
low
end.
end on the original version was,
It was-
pretty
it was-
fucking monstrous.
It was fun, but impractical.
Yeah. Like, the bass guitar was basically like, why am I here?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we got you covered, man. Don't worry. Any other questions from anyone else?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
How's just been this tour so far? Any good stories from this tour or no?
The tour's been fucking amazing. Way better than I expected, you know. But anything that really stands out was, man, you have to think when you're on tour, every day weird shit happens. So it's kind of it's trying to pinpoint something weird that really stands out to me, like something really insane that happened, you know?
Yeah.
Like somebody getting murdered in front of you or something like that. But, you know, the tour's been great, though. All the bands have been destroying every night. You know, Vitriol just goes up there and just complete fucking chaos, you know? But yeah, it's been going really, really good.
Glad to hear.
Yes,
Hey,
Dave.
What's up, bud? I heard rumors rumbling around the internet of a new model of an SD2. Is that a real thing?
I know what ponies you speak of.
I'll take that as a...
Yeah, but yes, there is going to be an SD3 eventually. That's probably going to go. We're going to do the first prototype. When I get home from this tour, I'm going to send the specs to ESP.
Okay.
And it's going to be the SD3, and it's, I'll just say it like this. Just when you thought it couldn't get any more pointier, it got more pointier.
Come on, man. I'm not a rich man.
And I think what you're referring to was what the dude from Frost Giant posted about.
Yes.
So I think the dude from Frost Giant, was under the impression that the SD2 that you brought, where you tricked out with the gold
Oh,
hardware.
that's busted. It's right here.
Oh.
So I think he was under the impression that was
That-
going
yeah.
to be released.
So yeah, oh yes, I got a bunch of messages about this guitar and everybody started freaking out. So basically what I did, this is an SD, this is an SD2 that I got bored and just replaced all the hardware with gold. Because I'm an enormous Randy Rhoads fan. And my favorite guitar of all time, of course besides this one, is his original black Rhoads with the gold hardware, like the original, like right after the Concorde. Like the smaller version of the Rhodes with the black, with the gold hardware. That guitar, when I saw Randy Rhoads holding that guitar, I was like, I have to have one of those. I didn't even know how to play yet, even at the time, but I loved the way that guitar looked. So this is kind of like a homage to like actual Randy's, actually black and gold Rhodes, but in an SD2 version, yes. But yeah, a bunch of people messaged me about this guitar. I was like, is that a new one? I was like, it's the same old one. I just swapped the fucking the hardware out to gold.
Yeah. She's pretty though.
Oh yeah,
So with
she
that-
looks good with her blonde hair.
And gold teeth.
Gold teeth and blonde hair can't go wrong.
The amp, is it a 300 watt beast like the Randalls, or is it more like a Marshall?
No, it's a 100-watt power section.
Yeah.
But I will tell you like this, that this amp, well, you'll see tonight at the gig how loud the one I have just goes up. Like it's, especially through like 4 cabinets. I have the motherfucker on 2, and it's just like,
Louder than the PA.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
some guy hates it.
Yeah, and not to be nerdy about wattage and stuff, but wattage refers to headroom, but not necessarily what we perceive as volume.
Right.
And that's why, one of the reasons why you put like a 30-watt box next to a 300-watt solid state amp, that box is gonna sound so much louder. So this thing actually puts out about 135 watts clean, but it doesn't sound cool to call it the SPD135, so it's the SPD100.
But like this amp where I had the Randalls on about 3 or 4, I have this one on my stage volume at like 2, and it's louder than the Randalls were.
Impressive.
I'll say it is.
Do you have DB77s in the cabinets?
Yes, it's a DB77 and Celestion Creamback 75 mix in an X pattern.
Oh, sick. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, not to ask too many questions, but to follow up about the gold one, have you thought about like other finishes for the SD2 or just black? Whether just
All I can
custom?
say is, look at this one.
Fair.
So you might be seeing a red and black crackle SD2 come out maybe next year, possibly.
Oh yeah, dude. Nice.
Gonna do a V?
What's that?
Another NV?
Another NV?
That's sick.
We were gonna do one through Condro Guitars, because the success of the SD1 was like unbelievable, you know. I did not expect that at all. So we were working with ESP to do an LTE version of the NV, but that's when the supply chain totally got screwed up, all the instruments, so ESP kind of shot that idea down because they were already behind on their like current models. So they were like, well, we can't really take on a new model. We need to get out what we already are putting out, you know. But never say never. I mean, maybe the Shred Den might do a fucking NVS LTD version. I mean, you never know what might happen.
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about that.
Another question about the SD2. So with the SD1, you don't have that cutout, obviously, and with the SD2, you do.
Yes.
Which one do you prefer, personally?
I mean, I like this one better because it's like the way the body is, it's so tight right there.
Yeah.
And it's such a short scale, that the frets are so close to each other that like when it didn't have the cut, that was the only thing I really complained about on the guitar. It's like when I would go up to the higher frets, it wasn't like hindering it, it just made it that just a little bit more uncomfortable, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So that's basically why we did that, because why not, you know? Yes, sir.
Going off the scale length, is there a reason why you prefer the slightly shorter scale length?
Because I'm just a smaller guy, and it feels more natural to me. And when I first started learning how to play guitar, I learned on like Gibson scale size guitars. So it's always been more natural for me to play like a shorter scale. But I think on the SD3, I think I'm gonna go to a 25, like a straight 25, like a PRS.
Yeah.
Because this one, it's like when you get down up in here, it's a little bit too close together when you get to the 24th fret. So I think we're gonna try to I'm gonna experiment with a 25 and see how that feels. Because, you know, why not?
I think I had heard somewhere that you were maybe getting a Seymour Duncan custom pickup. Is that still happening for the people that don't like the active one?
We're still working on a passive version of that. So, but it's not necessarily a priority. It's just like a thing in passing to where it's like, okay, well, let's try to develop a passive pickup that comes close to this one.
Yeah. Have
And
you gotten any
it's like,
prototypes or anything like that?
yes, I have like 4 prototypes at home, and it's very, very close. So I'm waiting on the 5th prototype, and I think probably that one's gonna be the one that's gonna be finished. Because all the other prototypes sounded really good, but there was like small things about each one that I didn't like. And I was like, why don't you take some of this from this pickup and take some of this from this other pickup and put them together? So I'm just waiting on the 5th prototype, and I think maybe the 5th prototype is gonna be the final one. But it's just gonna be like another option to have, you know what I'm saying? Rather than me just sticking to this thing, you know, because it's always good to have options.
Is there like anything special with like the way the wiring, like magnets or anything in the ones that you've gotten so far?
I think the last one that we did that I really liked was like a nickel 5 magnet, but it was like, what did I tell you? It was like something like 48K. Like it was fucking insane.
41 or 42K. I was like, there's no way she has to have written that down wrong.
No,
And he
yeah.
busted out his multimeter and tested it, and sure shit, it was like
Yeah, it was
low
like
40K, which
Yeah,
is insane.
you can't get a clean sound on that.
What do you need?
Can we get a rundown of your pedal board?
Yeah, of course. It's really, really simple.
Can I interrupt to ask real quick about your pickup? Do you have it jumped or not?
No, the jumper is just, it's even too much for me. Like the jumper is just insane. Yeah, the jumper, I'd take them off immediately. All right, so pedal board. Let's go. So basically what I have, this is a Temple Boards pedal board, which in my opinion is possibly the best board they developed yet that I've tried. Because you can bolt everything down to the back right here. So it's better than like Velcro, to where when I fly with my pedal board, every time I use Velcro, the shit always comes off. So this just bolts straight to the board. And what I have here, the first thing in the chain is Shure GLX 16D, I believe. And it's a wireless and a tuner built into one. And I've used this thing all over the planet and never had a problem. Like even on big stages, small stages, I've never had an issue with it. And then next I go into my signature Dybbuk, which is a Michael Klein audio design pedal. You're gonna be hearing this a lot. And next I go into, this is a Dunlop boosted wah. It's like the high gain wah. And the reason I switched to this one is because you don't have to click it. You basically just step on it and it already goes in. Because I hate those wahs that you have to kind of snap them in and then fucking turn them on and do that bullshit.
So kind of like the Bad Horsey wall?
Yes.
Okay.
Then next, after that, I go into the Michael Klein audio ball gag. which is a noise gate. And then I go into the Michael Klein Audio Blood Ritual, which is basically, it's like a delay, but it has a chorus on it. It basically makes you sound like George Lynch. And then this is the Michael Klein Audio Stall, which is like a modulated reverb, which we worked on really hard. Basically, I told Mike, I was like, develop a reverb for me that sounds like you're going into hell. And he did it.
Yeah, and that's why it's called Stoll. I'm from Kansas, in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, and there's a small town in Stoll that's rumored to have one of the gateways to hell in the Stoll Cemetery outside of Lawrence, Kansas. So it's Stoll.
What kind of power supply is on the pedal?
Oh, sorry about that. It's one of those Chiox DC7s, which they're amazing power supplies.
Does it pedal the wireless? Or
What's
power-
that?
Does it power the wireless good?
Oh yeah, the wires. It powers everything.
Because I got one of those wirelesses, my power supply won't work with it, so.
Yeah.
Well, and you could switch on the
That's cool.
Chiox thing. You could switch the voltages to where you go like 9, 12, 15, and I think
I think even 18.
18. Yes. So the wireless one, it takes a 15, so you just have to switch the outlet that you're going to a 15, and it works perfectly.
Sweet. Thanks.
And those power supplies can supply a lot of current in each output too, and they're really compact. They're just, I used to just use the pedal powers, and he switched me over to those, and they're it's the best I've ever
Yeah, my
used.
pedal power too won't go to 400 milliamps. So,
Yeah, check those out.
Yeah, they're great.
Thanks.
They work worldwide as well, so you don't have to like switch anything. I just went to Australia before we did this tour, and didn't have to switch anything. Just had to switch the adapter to an Australian adapter, and that's it. And it worked beautifully.
Hey, Michael, would you take the stall to the portal of hell install? To
I'm
see
too
if-
scared to
see
go
if
there.
anything would happen?
I've honestly never been there. I've wanted to go there for so long, but my understanding, the cemetery is now on private property, and you can't go there. But,
Well, that's what they say.
yeah, well, yeah, there's many things said about Stoll.
So we're gonna go to Stull with a Stull. We'll go to the mic next time.
You're gonna play like George Lynch there.
I mean, maybe George might show up, you know? I'm sorry, you had a question, sir?
I was going to say, he's got a question.
Which pedal do you use the most?
The ones that I use the most, that basically my gimmick pedal, my overdrive stays on all the time. That and the ball gag, the noise gate, those two, like I never turned those off.
Now with your other Michael Klein effects, are any chance of any of those becoming available to the public, like the overdrive, or?
They're all available to order.
Okay.
But I don't have a website.
Okay.
This all just started as like a labor of love for
Mhm.
me, and I've decided to keep it that way. So typically, most people reach out to me through Instagram. So yeah, anything is available at any time, and I'll build it by hand for whoever wants.
Can we hear the blood ritual?
Wait, say again?
Can we hear the blood ritual?
Yes. Sounds like docking. All right, anybody else?
What do you do to get warmed up?
Probably
Gentlemen,
wear a jacket. You know? No, seriously. I usually like try to play like at least like an hour to an hour and a half before our set time starts, and I just sit there, and what I do is like I'll just kind of just slowly work my way into playing before I start doing like exercises. So I'll feel it. I can feel it in my hands when I start to loosen up, and when I feel like I start to loosen up, that's when I just start running like exercises. And it's a pretty boring exercise, but I do this a lot to where it's like a down picking exercise where it's just like a. And I just do that at a comfortable speed, and I just gradually work the speed up in the metronome until it starts getting hard, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm ready to go now. Yeah, it's basically a stint of my warm-up. It's just a lot of down-picking exercises. Just boring shit, but it works, you know.
What about your left hand?
Left hand, I just kind of do weird chords. And just kind of do just odd, weird shaped chords and just kind of stretch the fingers out.
No scales or anything?
Not really, you know.
Are you taking questions on riffs?
Riffs.
Yeah, so there's one riff, it's my favorite Goatwhore riff, I've been trying to play it for years, I can't figure it out. I saw an IG chat that you were doing, but it was backwards, so, you know.
Which riff is it?
It's the riff in the carving, the title track. It's a
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite fucking riff.
It's really simple, man.
But it's, dude, it's, I don't know, whatever. I don't want to lick ass too much, but it's sick. So that first chord that you're doing, is that like a power chord with like an augmented, like?
No, it's basically, it's this string, those two strings open. So it's like.
Idea, but yeah, it
Sounds like talking.
All right.
We're trying to have.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Dude, sick, dude. Fuck yeah, thank you. Fuck yeah.
Hey, my young friend here is too young to come to your show tonight, and he's wondering if you could play a little bit of Apocalyptic Havoc.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Drop C or C standard?
No, it's C standard.
Ah.
Like C, F, A sharp, D sharp, G, then C.
Okay, gotcha. For the longest time, I thought you were in drop C for, I don't know why.
Yeah, I like to play with my whole hand rather than one finger. But don't get me started on that.
Was the acid bath stuff in C standard as well, or was that B?
No, that was C standard. The same thing as this, but there were two songs. Cassie Eats Cockroaches and Dr. Seuss is Dead that were in drop A flat, I believe.
So you just dropped it?
Yeah, we just dropped it down because, you know, at the time, you know, you had The Thing That Should Not Be by Metallica.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, why don't we just steal that idea?
Fuck yeah, man.
And James Hetfield said it as well. It's okay to borrow.
Dude.
Out of those first Acid Bath albums, what is your favorite song on the first and second?
On the first record?
Yep.
Oh, man. Well, when it comes to stuff like that, it's almost like trying to pick your favorite child. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some aren't as cool as the other ones, but you have to love them all. So it's kind of, I can't really pick one, you know? But off of those, you know, it's like, that's the way I feel as far as like writing songs, you know. They're like my children, you know. Some are cooler than others, but you have to love them all at some point.
But you got like some riffs that are like just fun to play, funner than other riffs though, just riffs themselves in songs though, right?
Yeah, man, of course. I mean, that's the main point with my approach to writing riffs is they have to be fun to play. I'm not here to show off or anything like that. You know, some of our riffs have only 3 notes in them, but it's all, you know, it's all in the attack and the way you present it. You know, to me, it's the attitude. You know, because I'm not one of those players that you know. I'm not the best guitar player on the planet, and I never will be, and I'm okay with that. I just want to write fun, heavy-ass riffs. That's it.
Yeah. Speaking of picking favorite children, out of all the custom ESPs you have, which one's your favorite?
Wait, say again?
Out of all the custom ESPs that you have, which one's your favorite?
Would probably be this one and the first one I got, which is it was basically almost the same thing as this, but it was black and it has a single coil in the neck. But something about those, like that guitar in particular, that was my first one I ever got. That was actually my first custom guitar I've ever gotten in my life. So I guess it's more of like a special thing to me. And they kind of knocked it out the park with that guitar as well, to where I played that guitar all over the planet several times. And it, let's just say it's in a little rough shape. So before it gets totally messed up, I wanted to retire it. So I'd gotten a couple of other ones from them, but they weren't quite as cool as that one, because that one in particular, it has a certain sound to it. And a couple of the other customs that I got from them, I experimented with, like I have one with like a quilt maple top, and I have another with like this big, huge, thick, like arch top thing on it. But they never really sounded like that guitar. And this one, I kept it kind of simple, and I guess that was the key. You know, rather than trying to make some fancy, crazy guitar, just keep it real simple, just all mahogany, ebony board, and just paint it, you know? And this one is definitely my 2 favorites are this one and the original first one that I got from it.
Really?
But the first one, it just needs to stay at home. She's lived a hard life.
I got an unrelated question. I heard rumors that when you guys were recording down in Phoenix, that you were a regular at the Alaskan Bush Company too.
We were actually
dollar squirrel eyes.
We probably no one in this room knows who you're talking about but
I'm
me.
from Arizona, and I've done my fair share of
Squirrel dives? You've done your fair share of squirrel dives. All right, what he's talking about is when Hurricane Katrina hit back in the day, we were writing for a haunting curse. And of course, we couldn't get the New Orleans to rehearse because the city was flooded. So we're like, okay, our drummer's originally from Arizona, so we went to Arizona to finish writing the record because we didn't want to stop. We're like, okay, well, we don't know when the city is going to let us back in or let into our rehearsal spot or not. So we just grabbed all our stuff and went to Arizona and finished writing. And he's talking about this place called the Alaskan Bush Company. Two. Which was right around the corner from where we were rehearsing. So as you could probably imagine, with a name like that, it is definitely a strip club.
It is a great strip club.
Yes.
It is a dual room, alcohol on the left, topless, and sober on the right with everything.
So let's just say we spent a little time there after our rehearsals. Let's just say that. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
No, crowbar question. You worked on with Kirk and Crowbar for probably the best 3 Crowbar albums. Odd Fellows Rest is my personal favorite, but when you were in Crowbar working with Kirk Winstein, who's the riff god, did you just defer to his godliness, or did he give you some leeway to write riffs and contribute to the songwriting process?
Well, I mean, you said it right there. Kirk is definitely one of the riff gods on this planet.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the time, I just let him do his thing, you know what I'm saying? Because he's so good at it. You know? But every now and then, we would just be jamming, and I'd be learning new stuff, and I would just be messing around with some idea, and he goes, you know, I don't know if you've ever spoken to Kirk, but he has a very rough voice.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, Duet, what's that you play over there now? It sound good. Let's work on that. So every now and then, he would hear something that I would play and be like, all right, well, the riff god is acknowledging my riff godliness as well.
It must be an amazing feeling. Working with him, did it ever have an effect on that your personal playing, like afterwards or whatever? Did they rub off on you at all? Or did you
Oh, of
take
course.
anything away
I
from
mean,
it?
I learned, because Kirk has such a unique style the way he plays, you know. He has such a heavy right hand, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of adapted to that, you know, to where I definitely got a lot of his picking from him, you know, just like the way he picked. I definitely picked up a lot of that, because you have to think, when you're playing in that band, if you have a guy that doesn't play like Kirk, it's going to sound weird. So I kind of had to learn how he played to make it actually sound good, you know?
Yeah. You can't have one guy just hammering on it.
Exactly.
Featherweight.
You kind of have to adapt to his style and learn the way that he played, and, you know, because I'm just going to stop right there. But, yeah, Kirk definitely a huge influence on me from, like, even before I was in the band, you know?
Killer. Fuck yeah.
Is there any updates with the project, the new stuff you were working on with Mike from Massive Bath?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But all I can say is expect to hear something soon.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up. But anyway, yes, sir, Nate.
I've never heard it live. Can you please play some of Where These Scars Are Testimony for me, please?
Fuck.
All I want in my life, man.
I'm trying to remember how that one goes. Wait. I don't remember it, dude. You know, I haven't played that song since we recorded it. Fuck. No. Fuck, I don't remember, dude. I know the first chord was this. Yeah, that's the first chord.
That's some of it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, didn't he ask for some of it?
Fuck, I don't remember it, Nate. I'm sorry, man.
It's okay, man. One of these tours, can you guys throw it on? Because I think tonight will be my 19th Goatwhore show, so maybe for the 20th Goatwhore show.
Damn. I mean, like I said, we might have played that song like once after we recorded it.
Dude, that's like the greatest opening track of any album.
Fuck, you got me thinking, man. Shit. It'll come to me. It'll come to me when I'm not thinking about it. That's what's gonna happen.
Just busting on stage tonight, like, oh shit, here it is.
That's the only part that I remember.
That'll do for me, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But yeah. I don't remember. You want to show me how to play it? No! All right, yes, sir.
Since Nate's seen you 20 times, do you remember the first time you played Minnesota by chance, or?
Like in my life, or like just with Goatwhore?
Both.
I remember we used to play here when I was in Acid Bath, and there was a fucking spot. I don't remember what it was called.
The Mirage?
Possibly.
Was that with the Samael tour?
It might have been.
Yeah.
Because we played there a few times in Acid Bath. We played there, man, it was like a bunch of times back in the day when I was in Acid Bath. I remember that spot. And I think the first time we played with Goatwhore here was at, what was that spot that was on the corner?
Station 4.
What's that?
Station 4?
Yes, Station 4. I think that was the first time we played here with Goatwhore was at Station 4. I don't remember with who, but that was a long time ago.
Was it with Niall?
Possibly. I don't remember, like I said, man.
It was awesome. You opened.
What's that?
It was awesome. It was Niall, Creator, Vader.
No, I remember. The first time we played there, it wasn't with them. That was more like the second or third time, because the first time we played there, I think we headlined with, oh goodness gracious, there was this guy around here that played guitar named Ben. He was an Anal Blast.
Very cool.
Good
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was his death metal band opened up, so it was basically just us two, and there was like 5 people at the show because we were headlining at the time, and nobody really knew about us back then, I guess you can say. But yes, I remember that was the first time we played Station 4, and
Probably the lab then.
it was a long time ago. But I remember that because that was the first time I met Ben, and we've been friends ever since.
Which place do you like to play the best here?
Where, in Minnesota?
Yeah, Minnesota, yeah.
Oh man, what was that place? I think it was, we were headlining by ourselves. We weren't on tour with anybody.
Amsterdam?
What's that? Yes, Amsterdam.
Hey, we opened, my band opened that.
Oh yes, I remember you now. Yes.
Yeah.
I knew you looked familiar. Yes, Amsterdam is probably my favorite place to play out here. I mean, the Turf Club's cool, but the stage is a little tight. Yes, it's a good way to describe it.
Intimate.
Some of those smaller venue shows are better than.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yes, absolutely.
Seen you guys a bunch of times at
Triple Rock?
Yeah.
The Triple Rock was my favorite. Though, man.
Triple Rock.
That was absolutely my favorite place to play out here because it was just the vibe in that room was just fucking cool. The stage was nice. The sound was good. Everybody that worked there was great. So I miss that place. I wish that place was still open,
I
man.
think the last, one of the last shows they did there was you guys, I think.
That's what they were saying. Yes, I remember. Yeah, that place was great, man. That was my favorite place to play out here. Well, it's no longer open, but was my favorite place to play.
Are you and Mikey still planning to come and play at Biggs in Sioux Falls
Yes.
on October 26th?
Yes, October 26th, myself and Mr. Mike Sanchez will be up there playing some acid bath tunes with like Murder. So that should be pretty fun.
I was at the last one, man. It was a blast. It was great to see you up there. Dude, you were really enjoying yourself. It was fun to watch, man.
Oh yeah, man.
It was like, you know, your babies, like you said, you know, these guys were jamming it out. And it was funny because you would go to each member and go, fuck yeah, like you really feeling it. It was cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have to think that was the first time I played those songs on stage in like 30, 35 years, you know what I'm saying? So I was having a grand old time, you know?
I'm excited to see you guys both up there together playing that stuff.
Oh yeah, we did it before, I think it was, who was it, last year? Me and Mike did it in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun.
It was so cool.
And then hopefully Mike doesn't bust his ass on stage this time.
He looked like he was having a blast in that show too. I saw some videos of that shit too. So.
Did you see him when he fell down the stage?
I did not see that part.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Took a jump.
Yeah. You know, Mike, we're not as young as we used to be. I guess he felt like he was at the time and it didn't really land it the right way. And I'm like, oh, there's Mike on the ground. I hope you're okay. Yes, sir.
So gun to your head, what's your favorite Celtic Frost riff?
My favorite Celtic Frost riff, man.
Probably a difficult question, but all of them.
Yeah, that's a hard one to fucking pinpoint because
Talks about choosing kids.
exactly. I mean, Tom G. Warrior is just absolutely #1 at the top of my list, and he's even under Tony Iommi, and Tony Iommi's #2. So it's hard for me to pick my favorite Celtic Frost riff. You know? Anything off of the first 3 records.
Babylon Fell.
I have mixed feelings about Into the Pandemonium.
Yeah.
There are some good songs in there, but there's some songs where I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here.
So definitely Cherry Orchard's better, right?
I thought it was Rob's favorite song.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard that before. Yeah.
You know there's always one in the crowd.
Of course, yes. Because I play in the Celtic Frost tribute band at home as well. And yeah, and there's always one in the crowd, play Cherry Orchards, and I'm like, no.
Yep.
All right, I'll take one more question and then we'll move mosey on downstairs. Yes, sir.
Could you play a little Pistol of Abomination?
What's that?
The Soulful Abomination?
Yeah, of course. Let's go with like the second rib. Thank y'all for coming out, and we'll go downstairs and I'll sign whatever y'all need and all that stuff. And first I'm going to have a cigarette.